I recently made a video talking about how Microsoft cannot name their consoles. Now, when I was doing that video, I explained that it was hard for me to find out which one came first, Xbox One or Xbox Series X. And someone left a mean comment saying, I believe it's because you're not that smart. Now, this one hurt my feelings, but I wanted to point out that when I'm making these videos, I'm really talking about the regular consumer. Sometimes it's not really going to be talking about us who are invested in the games, in the gaming atmosphere, right? We're talking about mom, dad who goes to the store and might not see the difference or might not understand the difference other than the price tag that is involved with it. Now, what I did want to mention is how PlayStation, Xbox 360, and the Wii, when they were being sold, Xbox exponentially beat out the PS3, at least from the graphic that I was able to find. Xbox 360 just did incredibly well. This was amazing, amazing, amazing sales. And then when we went to the PS4 and the Xbox One, it shifted a lot. Huge, huge shift. PlayStation 4 just did so much better. And then when we go to the PS5, Xbox Series X, we see it again. It's a double up. Now, I really genuinely believe the naming has a lot to do with it. It's very hard to tell, is there a new Xbox when you're naming something like Xbox One or Xbox Series X, right? These names aren't that well designed. Now, I understand that I had a lot of people that hated me for making that video because they love Xbox and they love the product that Microsoft has given them. And now, I'm not trying to diss right on their product. I'm trying to mention the fact of how Microsoft is making mistakes. Now, another thing is that we incredibly do not want a situation where Sony controls the whole market share. A monopoly would simply lead us to getting completely shit games. We do not want that. There's is a reality where Microsoft no longer sees the value in releasing Xbox consoles and they just limit themselves to developing the Game Pass that they've already developed. And they say, oh, it's going to be so much better for us to just focus on this instead of creating the software for it, the hardware for it. So do be aware, we want Microsoft to succeed. We want Microsoft to be able to compete against Sony. Otherwise, we'd end up with a monopoly. And yes, while we do have the Nintendo Switch, we do have Nintendo available to us, we can understand that the product that they're providing for us is completely different. Nintendo's a big fan of focusing on the younger target audience, while Sony and Microsoft tend to focus on the more teenager area or the adult area of who their market share is or who their market audience is intended for. So that's something that we have to be thinking about. Now, we also have to be considerate that if Xbox fails, we won't have Halo Studios releasing a Halo on an Xbox. And that'd be insanely crazy to think about, but it could be a reality. We could possibly get an Xbox that is not a Halo that is not released on Xbox. And the fact that I just made a mistake right there just proves to it. We know Halo to be Xbox. We love Gears of War. We love these games, man. Like, I remember when Xbox 360 was as big as it was, going to someone's house was, oh, do you have a PlayStation 3 or do you have an Xbox? But nowadays, when you go to someone's house, you naturally expect them to have the console that is more popular. We no longer have those culture wars where we say, oh, PlayStation is better than Xbox kind of thing. And that's not a good thing, actually. And it's not a good thing for the consumer, and it's not a good thing for the developer. And that's something else to mention, where we did have an argument between Epic Games and Apple. Epic Games, it went to court with Apple because there's a market share that they're missing out on. Apple is able to charge as much as they want, and Epic Games can't get any value out of the fact that when they sell product on an iPhone, or when they sell a portion of a product or however you want to label it, Apple keeps such a large share, and Epic Games is like, whoa, 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 why can't we keep a share of that? So it's the same situation that would happen with Sony. Sony would have complete control of a lot of console games, and it would also make it a situation where we would stop having as creative games as we currently have. That you see Sony investing so much into indie companies and saying like, hey, let's release this. We got Helldivers, guys. Like, Helldivers became a thing because Sony's like, okay, well, we need games that can be released on PlayStation. So you know what? This indie developer, they look good. Like, let's invest into that. So we want the contest. We want Microsoft versus Sony. We want PlayStation versus Xbox. We do want that. I've never owned an Xbox, and I'm willing to say that because we're willing to compete. We want that competition because it will make Sony create a better game. Now, for a lot of you that don't know, Sony currently released a very shit product where they said, here's a better PlayStation 5 exclusive, right? And a lot of people hated it. They said it was complete horseshit that they would release a new console. I don't have it popped up, but they would release a new console and it's so expensive, and everybody's like, whoa, whoa, why is it so expensive? And the reality of it is they're pricing it so high because they know that the competition's not there. Xbox is not being as competitive as they can be because they're leaning more onto the Game Pass, and because they're leaning onto Game Pass, they're not committing as much as they could be on the hardware. So releasing games on PC and on Xbox, there is limitations to them because there is a lot of people that only want to play their games on their Xbox. But if there's not enough games to play on Xbox, those players will eventually move on. They will. Like if there's no exclusives and there's no innovation that's like Microsoft is investing into Xbox, we will have shittier games. Like flat out, that's something that has to scare the audience that wants Sony to just control everything. We do not want that, guys. You do not want that. And I do not want that. As someone that's never owned an Xbox, I'm going to say it again. I do not want that to happen. Sony will stop investing as much into exclusives, and the products that we get, the amount of indies that we get is going to drop. So when I make these commentaries, be aware we want both of these companies to invest into the hardware because it will lead to better games. So trust me, what console you decide to buy is based on how they market to us, and hopefully Microsoft really figures out what they're going to do with the next console, and that's what we're really hoping for. So if you'd like this video, subscribe, like. Thank you so much for watching. It really does help the channel. Bye.